Welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. And today I'm going to be your Origami Dojo. I'm going to be your lead folder. So I am going to ask everybody just to, relax. We have plenty of time. I'll go very slow. And a couple of things I wanted to do is a number of you have probably either folded origami before or you're saying, I've always wanted to learn that skill. I have been doing it for probably about 12 years. And when I first started doing it, my wife didn't think I could do it. She was folding out a 3x3 paper and making 1,000 cranes for our daughter. And after she got a couple hundred done, I saw her every night folding them. And I asked her if I could help her. And she says, no, you won't be able to do that. You have that. And so I actually folded a lot of the cranes that went to the 1,000 cranes. And I actually found that it was very peaceful, that it was a form of meditation. And then as I started researching origami, and I'm going like, well, what else can I make? And what else do they use it for? I started finding out that there's a lot of other uses for it, that it is actually used as part of therapy, that when people have strokes, they will use it to make their mind in coordination. One of you, as you were waiting for us to start, said, I'm doing it from memory. And that's really important because up until the early 1900s, origami was actually passed on from one person to another. There were no diagrams. So one of the books I have today, and I'll take this down right now, is one of the books I have is just a little instruction book. And it's from Daiso, Japan. And if you'll see in here that when they tell you to fold things, they give you a lot of diagrams. And in these diagrams, they basically show you, and there was a gentleman who diagrammed it, and he's credited with coming up with over 5,000 diagrams. So he's the one who came up with the universal language of origami in order that it could be drawn the diagrams of valley folds and mountain folds and all those different things. But again, it used to be taught from memory. And so I really enjoy it. And today, it's actually extra special because it is August 6th. And on August 6th, 1945, the United States dropped the first atomic bomb. And, we kind of realized the dragon that we had unleashed. And unfortunately, we had to drop a second one. And fortunately, that no other atomic bombs have been used in war. They've been blown up, but they haven't been used against human populations, which is a blessing. But having the origami crane, and here's an origami crane, a bigger one, it became the universal symbol of peace through a girl named Sadako. Sadako was a victim of the bombing, and she was sick. And she always thought she was going to get better. And so she had heard the legend that if you fold 1,000 cranes, a wish will come true. And so a lot of times 1,000 cranes are given for a birth of a new child or for healing or for a wedding, because cranes, they mate for life, they live long lives, they stay together, they have a lot of symbolism that is very positive. So her folding the cranes, she only folded 644, but her classmates ended up folding the rest of them. And today, if you were to visit Hiroshima, there is a children's memorial there. And it's a big thing. It's a picture of her. I mean, it's made up with her on top. And she just wishes the world. And so people will bring their cranes. They may bring a single crane, or they'll bring bunches of cranes, and those cranes are left there to basically go back to the elements. The nature takes its course, and they dissolve and they tatter until that wish becomes true. So we're going to go forward, and I'm going to show you how to fold, and hopefully you have paper and you can join along with me. So I'm going to move the books here. Sarah, if you can move the screen down a little bit so that they can see, that's perfect. I can see what's going on there. So Usually, and I have a large piece for demonstration, I have a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and it's just scrapbook paper. But I'm not going to start with this because some of you probably did not come prepared with square paper. It's really hard to find square paper in your printer. So a lot of people will start out with 8.5 by 11 paper. It's very easy to make a square. So all you have to do with an 8.5 sheet of paper is, I'm going to put this one down. And what we're going to do is we're going to just hold it on a diagonal so that the diagonal edge, they meet together. So you've essentially created a kind of like a triangle with a tail on it. So with that tail, you have a pair of scissors. You're basically just going to cut that off. I'm going to get rid of that. I now have a square. And the best thing about origami is that it also teaches us geometry. Is that because we start out with, in most cases, we start out with a square. So does everybody have their square? Hopefully you have your square. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just put your square down flat on a piece of paper. And put it down on a hard surface. The good thing about origami is having good fingernails. You're not going to hurt the paper. So it's okay to crease it and make nice creases. And in fact, for some folding, you want really good creases because it helps it when you get to further steps. So we're just going to start with a piece of square paper. And the first thing we're going to do is that square paper is we're going to fold it in half to make a rectangle. So a square becomes a rectangle. So everybody fold it and then make good creases and make yourself a rectangle. So now we're going to take the rectangle and we're going to fold it again in half, and we're going to fold it back into a square. So we started with a square, we made it a rectangle, and now we folded it into a smaller square. Great. So at this point, we're going to unfold it. We're going to go back to our big square. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half again, but this time, it's all about how you tell people to do things. Fold it in half. I just folded it in half. No, this time we're going to fold it in half on a diagonal, and we take a square, and you're going to make a triangle out of it. Perfect. So we're going to take that triangle, and we're going to fold it in half again. And so we have taken a square, made a big triangle, and now we've made a smaller triangle. Perfect. So now we're going to unfold it again. And when you unfold it again and you put it down on the table, you'll see that if you put it down one way, certain edges will want, so what you want is you want the diagonals to pop up. And if the diagonals pop up, what you can is you can fold them into themselves. And so what you're doing is almost making like a little cup. Or if you wanted to, this could be like some kind of big mouth of an animal. But so you're going to make yourself. So you're going to fold it into itself. So you should have, when you look at it in your hand, you should have kind of like a little cup. And you've got the 4 points pointing up. Yeah, that was right. Everybody has this point here, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to put it down in front of you, and you have the open edge. You have the open edge when you put it down, and you're going to take the open edge and the outside point, and you're going to fold it to the center line. And this is called making a kite. So what you're going to do is you started folding in, and you want to make sure it's the open end that you're folding in on the bottom. And then you're going to do the other side.
You already cut the paper. He started.
We already cut the paper. But we're going to do this again, so don't worry about it. We're just going to go through it, fold it the first time, and then we'll do it. So at that point, you flip it over, and again, you'll have the big triangle. And then what you're going to do with the triangle is do the same thing. So you're going to do a lot of repeat folds. So now I do have a kite. And I have a kite on both sides. Are people having difficulty hearing me?
I can hear Erica.
Okay.
I can hear you as well. And you're Peter,
Okay.
right?
Yep, I'm Peter. Or the Vista Origami guy.
The origami guy.
Yeah. So everybody have the kite? That's good.
I feel.
So now what we're going to do with the kite is we're going to put it back down, and you're going to go to the, you're going to open up the kite again. Like I said, it's folding and unfolding, and then you're going to grab one of the tails. Oh, I'm sorry, go back to your kite. I forgot one thing. Go back to your kite, and at the top of the kite, fold your cut the top of the kite down, and then fold it back the other way. So on this one, you definitely want to fold both sides. So this will actually go back and forth. So you have that. And then leave it as your kite. So then put your kite down. Open up the kite on the one side. Grab the tail. And with the tail, push it forward on the crease. And you'll see it starts making a cup. The folds that you made will naturally fold in. And you want those to fold into the center line again. So now you've made like a big diamond. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to open up the kite, grab the tail, you fold the tail up, it starts making a cup. Now we have like a long diamond. And when you have this diamond, you have a bottom that has two legs. You have pieces that are on top, and then you have two legs. So when you put it back down, you want to orient it so that you have the legs. And on one side of the legs, you're going to take the bottom side, and you're going to fold it to the center. So we folded that piece to the center. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you made two really thick legs into two skinny legs. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now you have a long diamond with two skinny legs.
The legs went on a diet.
They did. They went on a diet, as Sarah said. So they walked a lot because of COVID. So we have this now. So now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to open up. And so what we have here is we almost have, if you look at it with two ears on it, it looks like a fox with a really long nose. So you're almost, you've almost created a fox. So hopefully you have this fox, and you go through there. And when you have your fox, what you're going to do is grab one of the fox's nose, and you're going to fold it up. So now what you're going to have is you're going to have all 4 points pointing up. So some of you who have looked at origami, sometimes you'll see that they make flowers and everything out of them. So the good thing is with origami, a lot of times once you learn the bases, like the crane base or the bird base or the frog base, it can take you in lots of different directions. But right now we have a base. And with this base now, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the two bigger sides. So we have the skinny legs, and now we opened it up. So we've kind of hidden the skinny legs inside. And we have, they're still all four pointing up, but we have the bigger sides facing out. So at this point, if you take it down to where it will crease, we've made one of the wings. And if we turn it over to the other side, we've made the other wing. So if you think about it, and you take the two smaller legs and you just bend them out ever so slightly, you now have an origami crane, but without a head. So we have to make the head. So what you do is just grab one of the ends and you pinch it, and we have an origami crane. Mm-hmm. And I already feel more peaceful. Hopefully some of you don't feel frustrated. So, but, and then what you can do is some people like to pull a little bit at the base of the wings, and they like to cut out the bodies. So, but that looks very nice, Jamie. Very nice. So, but again, you have your origami crane. And so one of the things they do with cranes, before COVID, I would write a message on the bottom of the crane. I would write a 4-word message. Courage doesn't always roar. I would write a 4-word, kind of like a positive affirmation on the bottom of the cranes, and I would either give it to somebody or leave it somewhere. And I didn't even know this was going on, but they have a peace project. And one of the peace projects is that you just make cranes, and you either share them with somebody or you leave it somewhere for somebody else to find and pass along. And in the 12 years plus that I've been making origami cranes and leaving them all over the place, there has not been very many people who have either refused the crane or, people who won't accept one. So it's always been a welcome gift. So I think it's brought a lot of joy and peace to me. And then, like I said at the beginning, I'm going like, what else can you do with these cranes? Now I have all these cranes. What can I do with them? So I said, hey, you can string them. So you can string them into a crane chain, and you can bead them. Sometimes you can put a charm or some kind of decorative ornament on the bottom. Hey, those look wonderful. I see some of the cranes people are sharing, and they look really good. So,
Jessica, where did you get your beautiful origami paper?
So I'm going to give you the secret. Origami paper. You can go to Michael's to get origami paper. You can go to Hobby Lobby and get origami paper. Excuse me. Or you can go to Daiso Japan. They sell usually these packs. This is 60 pieces of paper, and it's about $1.99. So they have all kinds of paper there. And they actually have the instruction books that are there. And again, everything at Daiso Japan, and you can learn how to fold penguins. And I think on page 40, there's actually the crane in here too. So, but some of you probably haven't realized that our world has gotten pretty technical with these Zooms and Google Meets. There's actually this thing called the World Wide Web. And if you have a hard time after this class, that you can actually go to the World Wide Web. You usually find a search engine like Google, and you type in how to fold an origami crane, and you check videos. You will get so many videos on how to do it. They will actually show you, so you can go through it. but it's just about everything. People will tell me a lot of times, well, I can't do it. I can't make it fold. None of us started out doing everything right the first time. So it also teaches you a little bit of patience. And I've worked on things before, and the good thing about origami, it's paper, and you can fold and unfold it again. And then you find out that it gets a little better as you go on. So one of the things that we're going to do for Vista with is we made all these really fancy bigger cranes, and they're made out of paper. And again, we just put some curling ribbon on the bottom of them. And so there's this tree in downtown Vista, which we call the Lush tree because a business used to be called Lush there. And it's in the center of downtown. And probably somebody will show up when it's a little bit dark in the early morning. And as many cranes as we can, we're going to hang from that tree. And, you know, let people know that, you know, hey, the flock's watching you. So, and so, I can fold another crane if people want to go through it again. Would you like to do that?
I think
Yep.
so.
Yes.
Okay, good. We're going to do it again. So does everybody have a square piece of paper, or do we have to make the square piece of paper?
I have a
I
square.
need to make it square.
You have to make it a square?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a piece of rectangle? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the rectangle and you're going to fold it on a diagonal so that the top outside corner meets the bottom edge, which is actually going to give you a 45-degree. I keep bringing up the geometry. And then you have a triangle that has a tail on it. With a pair of scissors, you can cut that tail off, or if you don't have a pair of scissors, you can fold the tail back on itself. And make really good creases. And so I've created a triangle now. And when I open it up, I have my square piece of paper. And the good thing is, if this edge is a little jagged, you don't have to worry about it because it's actually going to be folded inside and the cut edge never is seen again. So don't worry about if that edge, because my edge is a little jagged up here. Not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to start again. Everybody has a square piece of paper. So I'm just going to start out with this big piece of paper. If you're using colored paper like this piece here, this has a pattern on the outside, and it's blank on the inside. Sometimes when you look at the diagrams in the Daiso Japan books, they'll tell you how to start. So if I was folding the otter, you ought to not do that, but you can. So the good thing is, you're folding the otter, you'll see when they tell you number one, they're telling you to start with the blank side of the paper, and then they're telling you how to fold it. So if you do get these books and you look at the instructions, how you want it to come out becomes very important. So in this case, because we're going to fold an origami crane, and I would much rather have it have the pretty colors on it on the outside than the blank side, it's important how I start my fold. So I'm going to fold it with the blank side up, and I'm going to do it so that the color side makes the rectangle. Everybody have the rectangle? But we just had a rectangle. We made it a square. Now we took the square and made it a rectangle. This gets very confusing. And then we're going to fold the square or the rectangle in half and make a square again. And like I told you with creases, it's okay to use your thumbnails and make really good creases. You're not going to hurt the paper. So at this point, you have a square. You're going to unfold the square. And remember, when we took the square and we folded it into a rectangle, now we want to make a triangle. But when we do the triangle so it will fold up the right way, we're going to put the printed side up. And we're going to fold it so that when we fold the triangles, the blank side is exposed. So now you have a big triangle. We took a square, we made a big triangle. We fold it in half again. Now, some of you probably learned this in school where some of the kids made like footballs. It was origami where they used to use the footballs and they used to do it over everybody's hands. So we have this triangle. So now we're going to unfold it. And if you put it down with the blank side facing up on you and it got a point and you point it in the middle, it will actually make the ends want to come up. So the ends will naturally want to come up to you. So how I told you made a cup. So now I have my diamond. Did that work better this time, Jessica? I got better because I instructed it the first time. I saw I wasn't giving clear instructions. I now clarified that and see, look, practice is making me better. So we have it here. It's all on me, not on you. So now we have this. So we're going to put it down and we're going to take one of the ears and we're going to fold it to the center line. As you learn to fold origami, you'll find out that just leaving the slightest spaces when you fold things toward each other, if you just leave the slightest gap, will actually help your folds in the future. So then you're going to go to the other side and you're going to fold it. So you'll see here, I have just a slight gap right there between the two papers. They're not touching each other. So, but there's just a little bit of a gap there. That actually helps when you get into, because you're folding paper on top of paper on top of paper, and it starts pushing in. So now you're going to go to the diamond side that's left and fold those two in. And what we end up with is the kite. So everybody's at the kite. And again, the one step I messed up last time is at the top of the kite. Take it down and fold it and crease it. And then fold it back the other way. So you want this to basically become a hinge point. So this top piece will hinge and fold back and forth easily. Hopefully you all have that. So now we're going to put our kite down. We're going to open up one side of the kite, and we're going to grab the open end, and that will fold up, and it almost starts making along those creases, it kind of makes a cup or a boat. And then we fold it, we continue to fold it down. And we go along those fold lines we made earlier, which helps the paper fold, keep its shape. And now on one side we have a elongated diamond. We still have our kite on the other side. So what we're going to do is put it down. We're going to open it up. Grab the open end. Have it form its boat. Come on, there you go. Cooperate. And so now we have a long diamond with two legs on the bottom. So at that point, you put it back down. You take the side with the leg and you're going to fold the outside edge to the middle. And then you repeat it on the other side. So now you have smaller, skinnier legs, and you flip it over, and you make the skinnier legs on the other side. So we're all happy now because we have skinny legs. That's good. So when we're at the point with the skinny legs, what we're going to do is we're going to open up both sides, and we make, again, kind of like I talked to you about, we've almost made like a fox face. So there's like a little long fox face with a long nose on it. So we have that there. And then once we have that, we're going to take the long fox nose and we're going to fold it up to the points. We flip it over. So what we now have is we have 4 points all pointing up. At that, you're now going to unfold into the smaller legs. So now what you've done is you've taken the smaller legs and you've hidden them with the big leg pointing up, and then you fold that down and you've made your first wing. Turn it to the other side, fold it down. And so now we have the base of the crane, and we have its tail and the head. It doesn't matter which one it is. What we're going to do is we're going to slightly pull them out. Give them a little spacing. And usually you can tell which one you're going to make the head, because this one, it came to a nice clean point on this side. This one is a little more ragged, and I've got a piece where I folded it too close together. But if you take the ragged side and you pinch that one and you bring it into its head, it usually cleans it right up. So now I have the origami crane. And again, the world is more peaceful now because there's one more crane in the world. So now I have something I can give to somebody.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants to unmute. If you have questions, we have some time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to help somebody if they're stuck on a spot.
Who do I give my cranes to
The difficult decision is you get to give them to whoever you want.
But I thought someone was going to, like, on a secret day, hang them up in Vista.
Oh, I'm not going to come collect. I made all these here, and I'm going to hang these.
Oh.
These. I'm not going to hang yours, but there is a tree. I mean, if you find a tree in your neighborhood, you can hang there. Sometimes I make little like ornaments, just like this.
Pretty.
Yeah. So, and again, all the paper comes from like Daiso, Japan. So you can find all kinds of little. This one has a little bell on it. So, but, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with the origami cranes. And,
I like your sweatshirt too.
Oh, this one? I don't know where I got it. How about my mask?
Oh, yeah.
My wife made me my mask. So it's really funny because I'll be wearing a sweatshirt like this, and we'll be out somewhere, and I'll leave an origami crane, and I'm not too obvious about it. I might even be folding another crane, and then somebody will say, like, I wonder who did the origami crane. And it's like, I have a sweatshirt on, I'm folding it. It's like, but yeah, I told a lot of people that, what else can you fold it into? And I wanted to learn more. Dollar bill origami. I mean, servers love dollar bill origami. You know, so it's so I'll leave them penguins, and I'll leave them swans, and all kinds of things. So, so it's great to find out. And again, if you're asking me how you learn to do it, www. It's the World Wide Web. And dollar bill origami, and there are millions of diagrams out there. So, hopefully everybody's enjoyed it. I've enjoyed teaching you. And I hope that I've brought some peace into the world today.
Are you the one who leaves them at the little cake shop, or is that someone else?
I was always told by my dad to maintain plausible deniability. So I'm not the only person in the world who folds origami. So I can't tell you I leave those or not.
Okay.
And you've enjoyed them, that's even better. So, one of my sons was traveling up to Big Bear one time, and he sent me this picture of this, and he knows I have to go up to Big Bear every once in a while on work. And so he sent me a picture of a crane. He goes, "Dad, you've been here." I go, "That's not mine." I could tell by looking at how it was folded and what paper it was made out of that I didn't leave it there. So just because you see an origami crane doesn't mean I left it there. A lot of people leave origami cranes everywhere. I mean, I did not start this peace project. This started by, there's a woman, Susan DeCecco. She wrote the book. And I think this book's been out since 2012. And so, she's got a cute little picture of a dog with an origami crane. But friendship takes flight, and she has origami instructions in it. If you want, you can take a pledge. So, because they give you all this in the origami book, but there's a peace pledge. So it's like each crane I fold encloses a thought, a hope, a wish representing my commitment to peace. In making my peace crane, I stand to respect all life, reject violence, share with others, listen to understand, preserve the planet, and rediscover solidarity. I would find no matter what side of an issue you're on, that those are hard things to not embrace. So, and then you can, so there are, there's a lot of things that the cranes can do. So one by one, you do a lot more. So nothing else being asked or any other comments? Anybody want to share?
When we were at Mission Bay today, there was a woman who had a Oru kayak. So it fits up, it's a kayak, it has a carry case like a suitcase, but then it unfolds into a kayak.
Yeah.
I'm interested in getting one.
So when they built the space station, they put up the solar panels, and that was one of the first things they had to do. So they knew they weren't going to be able to send the astronauts out to assemble it and put the nuts and bolts. And then if they drop something, how are they going to ever get it back? So, it's a long ways to Earth to get new supplies. So what they did is they used origami principles. Just like some of you don't remember this, but there used to be old road maps that used to fold down into a small thing and you'd open it up. They use origami principles for that. The same thing with the space shuttle. They basically took the solar panels and they made this wide piece of solar array, and then they hinged it so it went back on itself. And so when they got it up to space, they could get it out of the bay door. And then once they got it out there on the arm, they could unfold it and it was fully assembled and it could start producing energy.
I love that.
So engineers at MIT and a lot of the other colleges actually take courses in origami. There's a world-renowned physicist, Robert Lang. He used to work at Caltech. And he's one of the master origami folders. And he uses it all through diagrams. If you want to make something, he can diagram it all out for you. And then it's just following the folds. So, wow. They now have said that a lot of the animals, especially the insects, the way their wings are folded, that when they're born and they come to, in the way their wings are put in there are all based on origami principles. So
wow.
I'm sure the insects came before origami, but it's taking a big piece of paper and making it into a very small object. So.
I love tiny origami and I love huge origami.
Yeah. Well,
they even made like a microscopic one.
yeah.
a machine had to make it or something.
Yeah. So I've made origami cranes. You have to use lighter paper. You have to use almost like a tissue paper. But I've probably made them as small as probably just over a centimeter.
Oh my gosh.
I think there's 2.54 centimeters in an inch, so about a third of an inch.
Oh my gosh.
And, I have to fold them with toothpicks.
Oh my gosh.
It freezes, because I have to be able to pick them up and everything. I can't do it with that. I have fat fingers. So but you can do it with toothpicks.
Wow.
Anybody else? Amiko, I don't know if you can unmute yourself, but you're with the Japanese Friendship Garden?
I think she couldn't.
Okay. So one thing you were asking where you could send your cranes, if you go to the Japanese Friendship Garden, Jane, they are collecting cranes right now. They have a project where they're trying to collect 1,000 cranes. So you could, if you want to give your cranes to San Diego, the Japanese Friendship Garden.
Is that Balboa Park?
Balboa Park, exactly. And they're also setting up they just opened up their gardens again where you can go through in one direction. So they're open again with social distancing and wearing masks. But they also set it up for like an Oban festival. So that there's different, almost like, I understand, like lanterns or prayer kites that they put through the park. Not Balboa Park, but through the Friendship Garden that you can walk through and see. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
Something to do. Break up your time.
Yeah, so. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the cranes.
They're beautiful.
And again, just a little bit of,
Amiko says, thank you, Peter.
no problem. But just basically nice scrapbook paper. And I think we got this at Hobby Lobby. So it's just nice 12 by 12 paper. So it makes a bigger crane. And then we just got some curling ribbon and we poked a hole in the bottom and strung the curling ribbon through it. And so when the wind blows, they make beautiful cranes.
Beautiful.
So,
Love it.
Well, thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. You guys
Thank
all
you.
stay
Thank you.
safe and have fun folding cranes.
Yeah.